Hey everybody, my name is Trudy. I'm an energy healer and I operate under the name One Grounded Angel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I do these videos every week and I shuffle cards for each day of the week, one card per day. I use oracle cards or angel cards, and the aim of these cards is to give us some insights on what we need to be reflecting on, what we need to be thinking about, what needs our attention, and what we kind of need to know to move through what's coming up for that particular day. But don't get too hung up on the days. The cards come up when they need to come up. So this particular week is May the 24th to the 30th, 2021. We have two interesting things happening this week. One is, brace yourselves, Mercury retrograde happening on Saturday the 29th. Now, people have a lot of fear around Mercury retrograde. I don't wish to feed that fear because I personally don't fear it. Happens 3 to 4 times a year, no point worrying about it. But I do warn people generally to save down your data as we go into this situation. And if you are in a situation where you will be signing contracts or doing something like that, Mercury is a planet of detail. When it is going retrograde, there's more potential for problems around that stuff. So if you're going into a situation of negotiation, perhaps some sort of detail-oriented project, take extra care. Don't freak out about it. Do not try and hide under the bed until the 3-week retrograde passes. That's not practical. We have to go on with our lives. But just be warned. That's all you need to know. Which is interesting because I've just shuffled for Monday. Oh, I forgot to tell you the other thing. Sorry, that was a little spoiler alert. We also have a Sagittarius full moon happening on Wednesday. Sagittarius is the sign of optimism. It's also the sign of education, religion. Oh goodness, my attention is my attention's failing me here. I would also say truth telling. It's a very authentic sort of sign. Sorry, I'm really struggling to focus on the other things that come up around Sagittarius, but I would say you may have, depending on where you're at, you may get some sort of revelation or some sort of breakthrough around education, perhaps, if that's been a goal of yours, or perhaps something that needs your attention. If you are focusing, this is a Sagittarian trait, focusing too much on being so focused on hope that you have forgotten to look at the rose-tinted glasses. That's the best way I can put it. If that's going on, you may have something giving you a reality check, that authenticity stuff coming up. They're a truth-telling sign, so this could be a good moment for you to step into your power as a speaker, as a truth teller, as some sort of blogger or publisher. It's sort of often associated with publishing. So those are the big things that come up around Sagittarius. Anyway, I have 2 cards here. Notice the signs. Now, remember I said before about being alert? This is another one. Let's pull ourselves out of that kind of autopilot mode that we tend to operate on and be really aware of what's going on around us. Is someone trying to tell us something that we keep missing? Is the universe trying to tell us something? Notice the signs. Now, if you are seeing a sign that you have not asked for, please don't freak out. It is not a warning. That's not how the universe works. But there is something they're trying to draw your attention to. It may be just them saying hello, or it may be if it's coming up in a particular area, there's something you need to know around that. I will post an article about signs on my website when this goes up, because people get very, very, very confused about signs. They go looking for them in places where they are not. They overthink things. They get so caught up, particularly around numbers. People are really hung up around numbers for some reason, and it can also keep you stuck a bit if you're overthinking things. Reward yourself. This is a beautiful message for any day, but I love the idea of it coming up on a Monday. So doing something nice for yourself. Monday, I think if you are someone who works Monday to Friday, you might be someone who tends to think of Monday as a day of productivity only. And maybe that works for you, but maybe there is still an opportunity for you to do something nice for yourself today. You do not need to get permission to do something good for yourself. It's something that you must do. You do not have to earn it, and it's better if you don't try and earn it, because if you're operating from a place of low self-worth, you'll find reasons to keep delaying that, and then you'll never do anything nice for yourself, and you'll find the universe stops doing nice things for you because you're sending a message about your worth to the universe with those actions. Tuesday, this is all about boundaries. Oh goodness, there's so much I could say about this. You probably know, if you follow me already on Instagram, that my moniker, by the way, is, or my handle is @OneGroundedAngel. I talk about boundaries a lot. Why? Because they're huge huge. So many people really struggle to set boundaries because so many reasons. They've been socially conditioned to think that they have to make everybody like them because they don't feel good enough. They've been socially conditioned to think that that they have to be, that if they upset someone, that means that they're not good enough, that their value comes from what other people think of them, that they must be good all the time, and that's how they get love in return. All sorts of things come up here, but the reality is you are here, and if you're watching this video, you've probably got a big life purpose. You are here to do something in this lifetime. You're not going to be able to do that if you're running around doing stuff for other people. If you're getting entangled in other people's dramas, if you're trying to protect people from their own stuff instead of letting them work it out on their own, if you are saying yes to people when you know that that's not the right thing for you to do, you're not going to have the time or the energy to devote to your passion projects, your creative projects, the things that you're here to do, your higher learning, your side hustle, whatever's going on here. So, and also your own basic self-care. You're getting enough healthy nutrients, enough sleep. All those things are all impacted by your ability to set boundaries. So it is so important. And if you're not doing that, then what are you trying to avoid? And again, this can be when the self-worth stuff comes up again, or maybe it could be fear of the work that you're here to do. Maybe there's some fears around stepping into your power. Let's go to Wednesday, full moon day. I'm not sure if I've got the right card deck here, but we'll soon find out. No, we're not. We've not got the right card deck. So we'll use this one instead. I had a feeling that might happen. Okay. Oh, goodness. That's not right either because I've got 3 cards. I'm not going to go with that. Let me go. Let me see where the energy takes me. Interesting. Okay. Sorry about that. Right, here we go. Oh, how appropriate. Focus. Remember how I said my attention was a bit scattered at the moment. Also, little segue here. Mercury is about the brain. And so sometimes people can feel during a Mercury retrograde that it's almost like they're walking around in a cloud, like they've got this cloudy, it's hard for them to stay on task, unless there's someone who's always like that, of course. It's harder for them to really focus and to kind of pin down. Words seem to escape them. That can happen during retrograde. There's a fogginess. So focus. Try and focus on what you want. And by the way, this is so funny. I'm trying to talk about focus. My focus is all over the place. I would also say that the retrograde, although it begins officially on Saturday, there is a pre-shadow period. So we may already be feeling the effects to some extent. So yeah, maybe this is already coming up for you. Focus. Is there something you need to focus on that you are avoiding? Remember, I just spoke about boundaries and how people, sometimes they are driven to overgive to other people because they're trying to avoid working on their own stuff. Maybe it's time for you to actually do the healing work. Maybe it's time for you to actually step into that passion project that you know you feel that you would regret not doing at the end of your lifetime, that you keep putting off because you feel like you're going to F it up. Now's the time to focus on it and get started. You don't have to know exactly how it's going to go, but you do have to make that a priority. What are you focusing on? Also, you can be looking at your mindset here with a card like this. Are you tending to devote excessive amount of fear, or thoughts on fear, I should say? Now, of course, we all worry. We're all human. That's never going to go away. The problem is if we're spending too much time in the worry space, because that is when we are missing the many good things in our lives. There's not enough gratitude. We're not celebrating the good things as they happen because we're too busy looking for the next problem to solve. We can also be starting to inadvertently attract more problems because that's the energy we're operating from predominantly. So the aim here is not to become super positive 24/7, impossible and counterproductive actually as well, because we need to have a balance. That's how we work best. So maybe looking at where there is an imbalance in your thoughts. Are you spending more time in the future or in the past than in the present? Where is your focus primarily going? So I'm going to pick up that card deck again. It didn't go so well last time. Oh boy, it's a big one. Thursday, I have 2 cards here. Overcoming difficulties in relationship harmony. I think these are related. What do you think? Let's start here. Relationship harmony. So yeah, if there is conflict, tension, pain points in the relationship, I'm talking romantic primarily here, this would be your card telling you you need to work through that, figure out what's really going on. It may be that you need to figure out what's going on within yourself rather than in the relationship itself, because the relationship is a reflection of what's going on within you. If there is disharmony in the way that your relationship with yourself, the way you are talking to yourself, the way you are treating yourself, that could be affecting the way you show up in the relationship. You're trying to hide away, bury something, hold the other person at arm's length. Maybe that's what's going on there. It could, I know I just said romantic relationships, but I do feel it could also be other types of relationships. Family primarily could be coming up for some of you. So as always, trust your intuition. Now, overcoming difficulties, I need to overcome these issues. But this card, when it comes up on its own, it can stand alone. It's letting you know that you are moving through these difficulties and wanting you to keep on the path to doing that, because it's important. Now, I'll go to this giant card deck for Friday. Observer. Oh, gosh, this is so evocative, isn't it? Beautiful. This lovely fox looking at the moon. Now, observer, I talk a lot about, and I'm sorry if I'm repetitive here, I talk a lot about self-reflection. The energy healer that I work with often says if there is no self-reflection, there is no growth. And so I always encourage my clients, and I try to do this myself obviously, to keep a journal, to write about their thoughts and feelings, and if you don't want to do that, just to be spending time thinking about what's really going on here, because that focus card sort of touched on that. Where are my thoughts wandering to? What's going on here? Is there something I'm trying to avoid? Observe what's going on. If you're being provoked by a situation, notice that. Why is this coming up for me? Has this happened to me before? Does it relate to another situation? This tension with my boss, does that match tension I've got elsewhere? The way that my boss is treating me, does that match how my parents used to treat me, or something like that? Really observe what's going on here. Do not act rashly. That is one of the key messages here. Do not be jumping in. Do not be acting from defensiveness. No knee-jerk reactions. We want to be sitting with what's going on, observing it, noticing it, kind of a mindfulness sort of message here, and then we can figure out what to do. Hopefully that makes sense. And interestingly, the retrograde is a wonderful time to do this. There are a lot of astrologers who talk about the words that come up with retrograde: review, reflect, retreat, rethink. It's a time for reflecting on what's going on here, because effectively the universe is slamming on the brakes here, giving us a bit of a pause, and that can manifest as hurdles, roadblocks, sort of drama all over the shop. But maybe that's happening to get us to stop and look at what's going on here and say, do I actually need to rethink the situation I'm in? Do I need to rethink the way I'm working? Maybe that's not actually right for me now. So there are a lot of great things that come out of a retrograde. Please, again, don't be afraid of it. I swear you can't make this up. This is the card that's come up. Saturday, pause. Everything I just said, pause, when the brakes are being slammed on here. So have a think. Oh, I love the strong indigo hues that are standing out here. Hit pause and really reflect on what's coming up. Why are you having this response? What do you think it's trying to teach you? Sometimes we go into a bit of victim mentality, and we all do this, no matter how evolved you are, of the universe is against me. What's going on here? Instead of going, actually, is there something that the universe is trying to do for me here? Is it taking me away from this job because it's actually not right for me, even though that's hugely inconvenient and stressful and, really painful? Is there maybe something good in here that I need to take? And we have to go through the grief cycle to get there, of course, particularly if we're talking about something like a loss, like the job loss that I just described. But really hit pause to process here. Don't be jumping into, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Really sit back and go, what's coming up for me here? What do I need to learn from this situation? And that will inform where you go next. So, yeah, it's how appropriate for a weekend and the first day of the Mercury retrograde. Here we go. For Sunday, The angel's name here is Caressa. You're at the end of a cycle in your life. So a letting go, and that can happen during a retrograde. Also, I should mention with retrograde, retro, the past, sometimes stuff from the past that we kind of thought we dealt with can come up again, or maybe we knew we hadn't dealt with, can be all up in our grill, and maybe that's because it needs to be healed now. So pretty unsubtle, the universe and the way it operates sometimes. You're at the end of a cycle in your life. Is something ending for you now? Maybe it is time for you to finally deal with that thing that needs to be brought to an end. It could also be, I mentioned before about a job loss situation, and I don't want to make light of that. It's extremely painful. It's happened to me 3 times. I don't have many positive words to describe the way I responded to that. I too went into fear because I am indeed human, but it has always been better for me in the long run. But you don't see that right away. You've still got to go through the crappy feelings. Is there something coming to an end? Is there something you need to bring to an end? And we had this card last week, I would say. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah. So, and we are humans who are brought here to evolve, and that means letting go a lot of the time. So some big messages here. I think that message about needing to pause and reflect comes through really strongly, and notice where our mindset is going. Where are we being guided to do the work here would be one of the strong messages here. Maybe part of the work for us is setting boundaries. So that's it for this week. The first, not full week, but partial week of the Mercury retrograde. And technology allowing, I will be back next week to do another reading for you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you're not already, at One Grounded Angel, or you can also like or follow me on Facebook, One Grounded Angel, if you are so inclined. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you're not already doing so you can see these videos when they go up. Thanks everybody for being here. Should also mention my website, www.onegroundedangel.com. There is tons more information on things like signs and chakras, setting boundaries, dealing with family conflict, all sorts of things on there, and also lots of information about the way I work as well if you're interested in working with me in an energy healing session. Thanks so much for being here. See you next week.